Welcome to the football show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Ruff and Alison McConnell are with me, and of course you know exactly what's happening over the next 24 hours. The Joker has joined us, and the good news is, Ali, he did actually go out like that with his wife. What was your wife dressed as?
Harley Quinn.
Yeah. And he does look menacing though, doesn't he?
Indeed, more menacing than normal.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to tell you, you look absolutely fantastic, Tam, just in case anybody's wondering who the hell it is next to us. So if Tam says something really, really provocative, opinionated, it's going to look mightily diluted, Ali. Is that fair?
That is more than fair. I think one of us got a different memo than everyone else.
It's a point to be your three's lack of effort, to be honest.
Yeah.
Halloween.
I made a great
It's poor.
dressed up as a
I thought we were
journalist.
getting dressed up.
The other thing, Ruffy, I mean, we were laughing about it in there, but we actually did get dressed up for Halloween for one of the shows, and I was dressed up as the Grim Reaper, and Craig Levine gets sacked within an hour of us going on air. So we had to go in and wash all our face and take the gear off and try and look serious. But let's hope, because Scottish football just keeps on giving, let's hope nobody is sacked during this show. Simple as that. Although, Tam, I have to say to you, if we had been sitting here last week, if we'd been sitting here last week and said Brendan's gone and Martin O'Neill's back, you wouldn't have believed it.
No, you wouldn't have. I mean, to be honest, you'd never seen that coming in a million years. But to be honest with you, he's a safe pair of hands, and I think him coming in with Sean Maloney, I think they've got off to a good start the other night, 4-0, and if they can keep that up, then you might get the job full time. I know he's talking about just being an interim basis, but if they go and beat Rangers, there might be a clamour for him to get it to the end of the season, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there's no great rush. I think Celtic were quite happy that they've got a steady pair of hands in Martin O'Neill just sitting in there.
Yeah, he's a good conduit just now between the boardroom and the support, given everything that's going on. Had it just been a Sean Maloney announcement for the interim, I think it would have further inflamed tensions and current tensions that we've seen across the last few months. I don't think they're not going to dissipate. You saw the protest prior to the game against Falkirk on Wednesday evening. They won't go away. However, I do think that Martin O'Neill is a fairly steady pair of hands. He's come in. People that I've spoke to in the aftermath of Wednesday's game felt as though the football was slightly different and it was a bit more direct. Too early to judge, I would say, just on the back of one performance, but it's notable that's the first time that Celtic had scored 4 goals in a league game all season, I think. So obviously a very clear remit about how they want to play. He'll be judged on the course of the campaign rather than over individual games. It's a huge game on Sunday afternoon for them at Hampden, whatever way you look at it. But for now, it just steadies it. You're right. There shouldn't be any rush because it's a hugely important appointment. It has to be a popular appointment in terms of trying to bring together a support that are up in arms at the minute, and that's unlikely to quell any noise. And one thing that will dial that down is putting a winning team on the park.
The other thing about it, which is going to be so difficult to call in this game, Ruffy, is each manager's approach to it, because if there's one thing you have to compliment Danny Rule on, which is an immediate observation, is that he's got them organised. You know, they're tight, compact at times. It was always going to be one of those kind of not a match filled with excitement at Easter Road, and so it turned out. And he'd have been happy with that. It was broken up quite a lot of the time with niggling fouls, but everybody seemed to be working their socks off and knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah, he's been quite good in the PR department as well. He sort of worked on the supporters, going over to them after a game, keeping them involved, getting the players over. So he's gone into the game with the supporters getting right behind the team, which is always important. But yeah, I think winning always breeds a bit of confidence. So both of them will be getting into this game with a wee bit of confidence.
Yeah, one thing that I think, when you think about Martin O'Neill and the type of player that he likes to play, Tam, if there's one thing that I know he'll be saying to the back line is, you're not footballers. You just head the ball clear out of the box, kick it as far away as possible, or kick it to someone who can play. Yeah,
listen, I played against Martin O'Neill's teams in the early 2000s, and without doubt it was the biggest team I've ever played. I remember coming out in the tunnel one day and just, they're an enormous, massive team. Set pieces were really important for them. They were quite direct. They didn't just lump it up the park, but they get plenty of crosses in the box. Whether that was Alan Thompson or Didier Agath into your strikers. So Yeah, I think that he will probably go a little bit more direct to try and get more balls into the box, and you've seen that the other night. Peter, he scored 2 or 3 goals from crosses into the box. Johnny Kenny got a couple of goals. So, yeah, I think you will see. You'll see less time, kind of Scales and whoever the other centre back is trusted. Less time with them on the ball, less passes with them. They'll get it forward, they'll get it wide earlier, they'll get the ball into the box earlier.
Yeah. And our team of journalists, Ali, as you know, always try and just see if they can throw a fish out there and see if anybody will bite on it. They were obviously looking for a quote from Martin today on the comments he made on TalkSport about Rangers being so far out of it. And that was also put to Danny Rule today to see if he was going to bite. Will the players be motivated by Martin O'Neill's comments?
First, big respect to such a coaching career. I think this is always great as a manager when you work so long in this business and you are successful. I think this is great. I'm just at the beginning of my career. I have a lot of work to do to come to this point and from this year. But the good thing is we start by 0-0, different generations, and let's see what we can bring with our teams in this game. I think for me it's always important to focus on myself. I'm not the coach to look too much to other teams because you have to do a lot of works at the moment. You have to do a lot of things right here. My focus is on my team. What other coaches said around is for me not so important. It's not necessary to have such a words for motivation. My teams or my players are really motivated for such a game.
Ruffy Jock Wallace used to say, hands up if anybody needs a wee bit of motivation here for Rangers, and if anybody put their hand up, they were out of the team. You don't need to be motivated when you're playing for Celtic and Rangers.
No, you don't have to. As soon as you put that jersey on, that's all that matters. You want to go out there for your teammates, you want to do well. Firstly for them, obviously, then the supporters. So, no, I think at the weekend, I think Rangers have got a wee bit of sign over Celtic in these big games. So it's up to Celtic to prove that they can come out and turn that around.
Yeah, of course, everybody was alluding to Martin's last period in charge when he started off with quite a lot of people suggesting that as far as Martin O'Neill Celtic were concerned, it was going to take them 5 years to try and close that gap on Dick Advocat's Rangers side. It didn't take too long. There was a game at Celtic Park. Celtic raced into a 3-goal lead and it turned out to be an absolute thriller, ending 6-2. This is what Martin had to say today when he was speaking to the assembled members of the press. Replicating that 6-2 game might be extremely difficult. I'd settle for a really lousy 1-0 victory. I've obviously got fond memories. It was a real springboard that season. This is a really big game for us. I don't disguise that at all. It's a semi-final. It's a big match for us. Any Celtic versus Rangers game is a big game, particularly given the circumstances of recent days, if not weeks. And let's not forget that Celtic under Brendan Rodgers did not have a good record in the last year or so against Rangers.
You could take Rangers out of that equation. Over the last year, you would struggle to say and pinpoint a big game where Celtic turned up, a big game that they won, other than maybe the performance against Bayern Munich. Obviously, they didn't get the win, but it was a good performance there overall. Other than that, if you think about the games they fell short in, they fell short at Ibrox in the festive game. Again, when they played Barry Ferguson's Rangers at Celtic Park, go back to the Scottish Cup final against Rangers at Ibrox earlier this season, at a point where Rangers were in real disarray. It was chaotic. It was very stagnant from Celtic. So I think these players also have an opportunity to step up on Sunday. There's an interesting question, I think, ahead of Sunday's game about which manager and which club is under the most pressure going into this one. When you look at the background of the last couple of weeks, which team needs it most? And I think sometimes that's the team that prevails.
Well, that's a good question. Tam, can you answer it?
I think it's just as big a game as any, Peter, in terms of an Old Firm game. Obviously Celtic going into it, well behind Hearts or Rangers at the minute. I don't think any team necessarily is more desperate to win the game. I think both are. Both will be favourites. Obviously, if they win this game, they'll get into the final against Motherwell St Mirren. They'll be heavy favourites. But I don't see. For Danny Role, I was impressed with him the other night. He changed the system. It was a real battling performance from Rangers, and they didn't really care about going forward. They sat in a nice low block and they were really, really strong and solid. So I think they'll do that again against Celtic at the weekend. I think they'll make Celtic break them down, and I don't think Danny Rowe will be worried about how he wins the game, particularly against Hibs as well, Peter. You know, I don't think Rangers were great. I thought Hibs were toothless up front, but Rangers got the result. I don't think he's balling about how pretty it is. And if Celtic can go and get after them and get the first goal, they'd probably have to come out. So, I don't see who the favourite is in this game or who's more desperate to win it. It's an old firm semi-final, Peter. Both will be desperate to win it.
I think if you're looking for a blame game, though, I mean, Danny Rule is in the early embryonic stages of his managerial career. He'd love to get that win. If you were looking for suddenly at the end of it somebody actually getting more angry than others, the Rangers fans are looking and saying, right, this is the start of something like what we've witnessed over the last couple of games. But then, you look at Celtic, and the Celtic fans would just go, this is all the board's doing.
Yeah, I think Celtic, the question Alison's put out there, I think Celtic need to win it more than Rangers. If Celtic don't win it, we know what's going to happen. The protests are going to continue. There was a couple of thousand outside the Falkirk game. That's going to get bigger and bigger. They're not going to go away. And we've already all agreed the only way for these things to go away is to win games. So if they don't win the semi-final, it's just going to kick off again. I think you're right with Rangers. You know, they've got a new guy in there. He's winning games. You don't hear anybody talking about the people upstairs now. They've got off the hook now because a new manager comes in. He's turned it round a wee bit. So for me, Celtic need to win the game.
Yeah, I was just looking there and I was trying to get back to it, Alison, trying to look at the lineups because this is the key to it, how both managers are going to approach it. It was a 4-3-3 and again, no surprise, Martin O'Neill wasn't looking towards youth. He just wanted to make sure he was going to get, experience in there, get the result, start to, even if you listen to him afterward, instill a bit of confidence in players that basically been told they were nothing short of mediocre. So he had Ralston, Trusty was back in, Scales, so he wasn't really caring about the balance that Brendan Rodgers had said to me on the Sunday. Then Sirachi, no Tierney.
He was really good.
Engels, McGregor, Nygren, then Forrest, Kenny and Tonecki. And you wonder if the main dilemma for him will be, okay, that was us solid, but a little bit more direct, but you wonder if Maeda can give him 90 minutes or at least give him 60 or 75 that could be telling.
If Maeda is fit and they think he's capable of starting, I think he starts. I think he's caused so many problems for Rangers over the course of his Celtic career. I think he's a player who spooks that Rangers backline with his pace, and you've seen how Celtic at points have utilised that to great effect in this fixture. For me, if he's fit and they believe he's capable of starting, I think he goes straight back in to the starting lineup. And when I saw that he came off the bench the other night, I did wonder if that was why. Just get a few minutes in so that you're in a position to go and play on Sunday. There was no huge surprise to me that a Martin O'Neill team went with experience over putting kids in again. I thought it was sensible. Celtic needed a result on Wednesday night. They needed to win the game. They needed just to settle down after obviously the defeats to Dundee, defeats to Hearts, and then all the oddness, really, the surreal nature of the 48 hours that had gone before it with the resignation of Brendan Rodgers and Martin O'Neill coming in. It just needed to be a focus on entirely what was going on the park and a bit of positivity to draw from it ahead of going to Hampden. There's no great mystery about how Martin O'Neill sets up teams and what he goes with. Everyone here will know and can anticipate how he'll set teams up. The big thing and the big question for me is how now he has such a fantastic reputation in terms of motivating players and getting the best out of them. What will be interesting for me is how those methods translate in a modern dressing room and whether or not he gets an immediate tune out of this Celtic team.
Well, that's him as a motivator. Danny Rule as a motivator, we don't know. But I'd love to be... I'll tell you one thing he's animated in the trackside, a lot more than Russell Martin was. But it'd be interesting. I'd love to be a fly in the wall to see the type of direction that he gives them. He'll certainly be, as most Germans, this is the way we want to play in the formation. This is your role. But I wonder how he's putting it across. I look at that team and I wonder, will Tavernier start? You've got Butland, then Giga, Suter and Cornelius. And then it was Max Aarons, Connor Barron, Nico Raskin, Magoma, and then Danilo, Chermiti and Mikey Moore.
I think Barron's suspended. I think Barron's out, so I think Diamandi will come in. I thought they probably rested him for that game. And I said it the other night, I thought that Rangers possibly rested 3 or 4 against Hibs. I know he's tried to look at different players and different systems, but I didn't think that was Rangers' strongest team. And I think that Gassama will definitely come back in.
Miovski?
I think Majovski could possibly come in for Chermiti. You know, and I think Tavernier will come back in, the skipper will come back in. So, but I thought that the three at the back really suited Rangers. I thought they were much more solid at the back. Magoma, I thought was excellent on the left-hand side. I think if you're a left back or a left wing back and you've got three sitting behind you, you're more confident going forward, Peter. You don't think you're going to get caught out because you've got three sitting back there. So I thought that suited him a lot better. He was good going forward. But yeah, last night I think that Rangers, I think Danny Rall in particular as a manager, you could see, you know, some of his ideas were starting to get across the other night. I thought the game, you mentioned it, you touched on it at the start, was very bitty, a lot of fouls. But every time a Hibs player broke away, Rangers player fouled him. And I don't think that's coincidence. I don't think that's just what just happened. I think that's him and his coaching staff saying, if we're behind, if we're under the cosh and somebody's on the breakaway, take a foul, take a yellow card. You know, I remember working with Rainer Bonhoff with Scotland under 21s. He was exactly the same. You know, if somebody's breaking, take a card. You know, it was just a German coaching thing. So I thought they were solid, really, really solid at the back, bar Hibs' penalty. Hibs never looked like scoring. So I think if you're a Rangers supporter, you're looking for a manager to now get the best out of this team and play them in the system that suits the players. And I think Danny Rall done that to a T the other night.
Yeah, the other thing I was impressed with, I don't know about you, Alec Ray said it on Monday, Ruffy, Danilo is the most natural finisher. At the club.
Fair play to him, he did call it.
Yeah, well, he's been in and out, you know, obviously not established himself. He came with a high regard for everywhere he'd been, you know, and we saw wee glimpses of it here and there, and then he disappeared off the scene for a wee bit, and now he's back in. He's scored 2 goals now. He's obviously confident. You would think he would try and find a way or a place for him to play, but I think we're all just waiting to see, you know, were these players getting rotated or were they injured or whatever. So team lines are going to be very, very important. But for me, it's all about Rangers. If Rangers go ahead, they look great. If they go behind, they don't look great. So it's important for them to score first.
Yeah, if I was calling a game of this nature as to what the Celtic fans and Rangers fans would like to see, you're definitely going to be looking for a set piece that could end it. I think it's going to be so tight. If you're a Celtic fan, you're hoping Maeda plays. Although he scored in midweek against Falkirk, I don't think Johnny Kenny is at the level for this game. He might get the nod. I'd be amazed if he did.
If he gets a nod, I would suspect it's because Maeda just isn't fit enough to start, and it's a case of maybe bringing him on for the last 15, 20 minutes and seeing if he can give you something. I tend to agree with you. Kenny showed up well on Wednesday night against Falkirk, and no disrespect to Falkirk, but the magnitude of Sunday's game is a step up in terms of the quality of opposition, but also to the magnitude and enormity of the occasion. Maeda has been over the course so many times. He has the experience of playing high-profile games, of playing against Rangers, and also of scoring big goals for Celtic. He's turned up on the big occasion, and this is a problem, really. I suppose that we've debated for so long over the last couple of months. When you look at the Celtic squad, there is such a paucity of attacking players at the disposal of any manager who's in there.
I think if you ask most centre-halves, they'd rather play against a Kenny than a Maeda. You know, they would rather play against a big guy who's physical so they can combat their physicality against them, and that suits them. They don't want a wee guy buzzing about and being half a yard shorter than them and outdoing them for pace. So Maeda was an interesting one. I think Martin O'Neill had said, the physio had said, look, you can get him for 25 minutes but no more. So it depends how much they're actually going to say to him on the day. You know, start him and he'll maybe give you 60, but you have to prepare to put Kenny on.
Yeah, James Tavernier certainly doesn't like a Maeda, does he?
No, and I think that he's terrorised James Tavernier over the last couple of seasons. And listen, Hampden's a huge pitch, it really is, and Maeda's pace and the space that Rangers could, you know, leave in behind would be perfect for him. But as Alison said, I think with Johnny Kenny getting the 2 goals the other night, his confidence will be high. I think he will probably start the game. But you've now got a few more options because obviously Maeda's back fit again. James Forrest played well the other night, but I think James Forrest is more a impact sub, maybe 20-25 minutes coming off the bench. But he was excellent the other night, took his opportunity. So you know, if Celtic played the same 11, it wouldn't surprise me because Martin O'Neill was pretty consistent, as we know, back in the day. If a team was winning and doing well for him, he kind of kept with the same pool of players.
Yeah, I think he's going to go tried and trusted. The difficulty now, and this is where we've got to call it, Ruffy, who wins it?
I've already touched on it then. I think the first team that scores will win the game. There's not many times that the teams come from behind in these, particularly the way the two teams are now. None of them's way ahead of any of each other. So I think the first goal's a really important one. You know, it'll lift one side of the obviously game, and the players will be up for it. I just think Rangers players have showed if they don't go ahead, they go into a wee shell and they find it difficult to deal with. It might be different with a new manager, but no, first goal for me is an important one.
Yeah.
Celtic 2-1. I thought you were asking. I didn't know you were wanting a prediction.
We didn't want a long-winded.
All right, okay.
We just wanted
Celtic 2-1.
Celtic 2-1. Ali?
On current evidence, it's very difficult to separate them. Neither have been particularly convincing in the lead up to this game. Both shown massive changes in personnel in terms of the dugouts across the last couple of weeks, both winning midweek. I'm going to say Celtic 2-1. I think Martin O'Neill might give them a bit of a bounce, but I think it's an enormously difficult game. On the evidence that's presented in front of you of both teams, there's so little between them just now in terms of quality. I think Celtic just edge it with players who can come up with big moments.
Sam?
Again, it's a difficult one to call. It really is. I think Celtic are still marginally a better team than Rangers. I think that Celtic have marginally got better players, and I agree with Ali. I think Martin O'Neill might come in and give them a wee bit of a boost, but there won't be much in it. I think extra time, penalties, huge possibility. I'll go Celtic to nick it in extra time, 2-1.
Yeah.
The big thing for Rangers is stopping Callum McGregor. We saw Hearts doing it with Devlin and people coming into his space. If Rangers can stop him for controlling the game, they've got a chance.
Well, I may as well buck the trend. Rangers to win it in penalties. And I think it'll be one of those games where eventually in the press box, Alison just looks at me and thinks, we're going to extra time, I'm raging, I'm going to be here till midnight. And she'll look at me as if it's my fault, and I'll feel like a piece of dirt on her shoe, and I just have to get on with it, Ruffy.
That'll be when Peter's sitting watching the game and not doing any work.
Yes, Ali. Ali, for my 7,000th Rangers Celtic game, I think you're absolutely right.
You've never been at a Rangers Celtic game when Peter can actually impersonate working when not on his computer.
He's above all that. He's above all that.
This is still my favourite. Still my favourite game. By the way, I have to tell you, I get a lot of abuse at those games under normal circumstances.
That's why I'm not sitting next to you.
This is the other thing, because what usually happens, you go into the press room, you get into the press box. It's just your Donald Duck where you're sitting. So on this occasion, the press officer decided to put me and Ruffy right over in the corner on the left-hand side. So we're the only two right next to
the fence,
the Rangers fans. And they let me have it. And then they let Ruffy have it. Obviously, Ruffy was going through a difficult time with his weight. So they were mentioning that. So I kid you not, they absolutely battered us. And then eventually... This is it. It's the one where Rangers won in the semi-final on penalties. So at this point, there's no Celtic fans left in the stadium, and I'm doing this. And he said, "What are you writing?" I went, "Nothing until everybody leaves." I'm just keeping my head down because I don't want to look up and suffer the pelters. But nevertheless, I think it's going to be a rotten game. I think it's going to be littered with fouls. I wouldn't rule out a red card, and I certainly wouldn't rule out a controversial decision, because this one is so tough to call, because I don't know what, although he'll go for experience, I don't know what Martin's going to do in his message to the back line, because he's certainly not going to be listening to anybody saying, let's play it all across the back line, tippy-tappy, left to right, left to right.
No, it's going to be forward, Elliot.
So he's going to try and get it forward quickly. And for Danny Rule, and I've been impressed with the fact that he's not here to win anybody over with, free-flowing football at the moment. He's just very pragmatic, get results, build momentum, see where you go. So I think it's going to penalties. Other than that, give us
Jack Butland saved his last 7 penalties as well.
Well,
so I think that's definitely Rangers would have an edge if it went to penalties. I think they've got a better goalkeeper for stopping penalties.
Yeah, that's a good line as well. If only you'd made it in your normal gear, we could have taken you seriously. Now, on that point, I was going to say to you, we've given a prediction of the game. Give us your prediction. What do you think? Don't just say it's going to be 2-1 Rangers or 2-1 Celtic or whatever. Tell us why you think that it's going to end up that way. We would love to hear your opinion on it, and then we'll read some of it out. Simple as that. Thank you again. And even Jimbo says you'll be proven wrong again, Peter. Jimbo, I have been wrong on many an occasion. That's the nature of it. But at least you
Sometimes I am wrong, but I am never wrong.
Yes. Yeah, at least you get an opinion, for God's sake, which is better than some flag wavers I could mention. But that's for another programme. As far as Martin O'Neill's concerned, he's in there. I'm not too sure, Ali, that anybody will be suddenly, clamouring for Martin to get the job full time if he defeats Rangers.
I disagree.
Do you? Do you think there's going to be a huge clamour for it? I don't.
Not to the end of the season, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is that by him? Time for what? Time for who?
I don't know, but it's
Craig
just...
Bellamy?
No, I don't know who's... Kieran McKenna's been mentioned as well, but you've obviously got the odds there as well, and who's going to come in, but...
Yeah, here are the odds.
I think there will be a clamour if Martin O'Neill wins this game.
Kieran McKenna 3-1, Robbie Keane 6-1, Martin himself 7-1, Lee Carsley, interesting, at 8-1, Craig Bellamy 10-1, Ruffy.
I don't think Martin O'Neill will get it. I think Martin's already stated, it's a privilege being here, being asked back, blah, blah, blah. It's great association with the club. And as I keep repeating myself, he has went for the boy at Ipswich. He knows him. He's already said he's a young manager on the up, and he keeps this young thing. I think Celtic are going to go down a road of a young upcoming manager. I think that's the way ahead. I think they've done the experience bit, now I think they're looking for a bit of stability and somebody like that.
Why do you say that? Because the last two managers who were experienced delivered success.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just going with the Martin O'Neill interview. He's
not deciding.
But he's been in dialogue with the owners. He's been in dialogue with, him coming in, and they've told him why he's coming in, and they've obviously asked him his view. The experience that he's got. What way do you think we should go? And he's threw his tuppence worth in, and he's threw his tuppence worth it behind the Ipswich boy.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Ali, on the basis that you've had two experienced managers who've had a good CV, who've been able to deliver success. It screams out to me that there's got to be somebody with a CV who can handle it. And obviously, if a young man gets it, there is a risk. And also the accusation would be, wait a minute, this is going to be somebody who's not going to be strong enough and could be manipulated by that board.
No, I agree in terms of it has to be someone who has a track record coming in. It has to be someone with a background of having achieved things and made their mark already in the game. I know Kieran McKenna has been talked about in favourable terms, certainly by the Celtic support. I just wonder about the finances involved in that. I think it may be slightly prohibitive for Celtic. I think he's one of the higher earners in the Premier League. I think you're talking around £5 million a year. It's a lot of... It's a huge financial commitment. I'm not sure how viable that would be for Celtic, but I think someone of that ilk and that blueprint would be the managerial candidate that they're looking for. For me, it wouldn't be an up-and-coming young manager keen to make their mark at the club. And the reason for that would be that they can't afford it for it not to work. It has to be a success, and it has to be an appointment that everyone gets behind immediately, given the discord that we've seen across recent months.
And that person has to sit in the seat and say, I've had a word with the board and we're getting money in January. That's the remit that doesn't kill off the unrest, but it's a narrative
that turns it down.
Exactly, that is the one.
It turns it down. I do wonder if the next few weeks are calm and Celtic piece together a sequence of results, particularly starting with Sunday, if it just eases the pressure on everyone and allows them to take their time, allows them not to rush into an appointment, but just to draw breath and cast their net fairly widely, rather than feeling as though you've got to get an appointment in the door fairly quickly. I also wonder about maybe whether or not, I don't think Martin O'Neill will want the job on a full-time basis. I would wonder, would there be a role for him if there was some kind of structural change internally? Would there be a role to accommodate someone of his clear experience and association with the club when it comes to going forward.
I think Alisson, if he goes out and obviously packed Hampden, beats Rangers, gets that buzz and that feeling back, that he would get the bug again and think, I quite fancy even
it's a
possibility.
possibility. It's definitely a possibility.
I think you've seen obviously Barry Ferguson's a younger man, but I think you've seen that with Barry went in. You know, he went in as an interim and he wanted the job and he got that buzz back.
You do forget though the intensity of the job, of what it's like day to day when you're in it, the scope with the pressure, the microscopic intensity, every moment of every day, and just where the focus is on results constantly. And that's, if you think of how Celtic have changed in the last 20 years, of how the cultural landscape has changed across the last 2 decades, where you have social media and everything is amplified. It's a particularly different game almost. Dressing rooms are different, culture's different.
The message is still the same though,
The message remains the same. I did wonder on Wednesday night at 4-0 and the full-time whistle goes in, the players do the lap of honour and they walk round, and I saw Martin like meeting them all coming off the pitch, and I saw him speaking to a couple of the players, and you're just thinking, I wonder what he makes of this. Like just go like what a 4-0 win, a routine win over Falkirk midweek, and there's a wee parade around the pitch, and you think, I wonder what a manager of O'Neill's stature makes of that. His teams would have done that on the back of winning big games and big performances.
He was nervous before it, and he looked at it and been happy to get the win. He still got the buzz. Danny Rule still got the buzz because he was over at the Rangers fans as well. Funnily enough, just as we move on to the other semi-final, but a last little point, Tam, and this is probably relevant if he does get the job to the summer, because hopefully we might get back in then to have a go at him, because I picked...
He likes one of us.
Yeah, absolutely. I picked my daughter up from school and she got into the car and she says, Martin O'Neill's a Celtic manager, Dad. I went, yep, he's interim Celtic manager. She says, does that mean he's not going to be your friend anymore? I thought, well, I never thought of it that way, Ruffy, you know, but as soon as he sees my big doll face there...
Yeah, you've had your moments.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't think I'll be picking fights.
At least neither you or I look 12, so we might.
Yeah, I know. Ali is alluding to the fact that somebody tried to have a wee dig at him and he was looking rather young, and Martin, old and long in the tooth, just leathered him out into left field. But I'm sure he'll do that when he sees my face on Sunday in the Hampden Auditorium after the game for the manager's interviews. Anyway, we've called it. Give us your thoughts. The other one, which is a great one for me, Ruffy, is Motherwell against St Mirren, because there's nothing better than two managers who know you're not playing Celtic or Rangers and you've got a chance to book a place in the final. And suddenly it's Stephen Robinson, who obviously has great memories of Motherwell in cup competitions, maybe didn't turn out the way he wanted, and Jens Berthel Askau, who's getting rave reviews for the football they're playing, maybe not the results they were looking for.
No, but they've turned that round a wee bit. They are now winning games. They are playing, I would say, of the two teams, the better of the football. But that's not necessarily going to win you the game. I just think St Mirren have got a bit of a fight about them. They've got a bit of presence. Free kicks, corners are always a threat. You know, I think the physicality of that team might just overpower Motherwell. It is a big park, as Tam said. The way they play will suit Motherwell. I've just got a wee feeling. I think maybe I'm just being soft here.
Yeah.
I think St Mirren have had a lot of unjust things happen to them this year, and I think they're due a wee rub of the green, and I'd like to see them in the final.
Well, you'd like to see them in the final, isn't it?
I think they
isn't
will.
It amazing?
You don't want Motherwell in the final?
Isn't it amazing that we've been discussing Celtic and Rangers for about 29 minutes and we could drag an opinion out of him, and suddenly he's offered it in the first minute. We haven't even started to talk about Motherwell or St Mirren. The one thing that I can tell you though is that our reporters Kerry and Cara will be covering that game for us and hoping to go out for Halloween, but not according to Jens Berthel Askau, because he's getting ready for the long haul in this one.
Rhythm leading into the game will be the same. I think that's important, because you try and make a rhythm and a schedule that gives you the perfect preparation to be able to perform at any game. The only thing that we have done a little bit different is that we have trained a little bit more penalties lately and tried to incorporate that in the small-sided games, and so it has been given an edge of competitiveness, and also with a little bit of heart rate up when we take the penalties.
Well, this is going to be really intriguing to see who he picks, because when he was looking at his side and he was picking, suddenly Stephen O'Donnell had dropped to the bench.
Yeah, rested a few the other night, didn't he?
Yeah, but now, I think, having watched Motherwell and the way they play, I think Stephen O'Donnell is the best option on the right-hand side. I think he gets forward. I think his crossing into the box is better. I think his passing into the midfield is crisper and sharper, and I don't know why he doesn't fancy him as much as he should.
Yeah, I just think Motherwell have got plenty of options now, Peter. They've got, he rotated the team the other night. I think he left 3 or 4 out, probably with a view to this game at the weekend, but it's really a fascinating clash of styles, I think. I think Ruffy's right. St Mirren are, I'm loath to say that they do play good football as well, but they're adept at getting into the front two and getting the ball in behind and just squeezing the game and playing the other team's half, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. It's been really successful for Stephen Robinson. Motherwell will try and play expansive, big pitch. They'll make the pitch as big as they can. They'll try and play through St Mirren. So it's a real fascinating game for me. Motherwell, 2 wins in the trot. And I think that's a real boost for them, because people were starting to ask questions of they all substance, and have they got any substance about them. So I'm going to go for Motherwell to nick this. I think Motherwell have got better players, and I think they'll nick it 2-1.
Interestingly enough, when you look at St Mirren, and I agree with you, Ruffy, I think some of the observations and criticism, and I don't know where it's coming from, are there members of the press who suddenly suggested that, St Mirren, the only thing they've got going for them is physicality? I
think it was Chris Sutton was the only one. It was him that said it, wasn't it? He was the only one I can think of.
He said he wouldn't go and watch them. He wouldn't be a team that they'd go and watch.
That's unfair, Ali.
There was a podcast, I think there was something said in one of the podcasts too. I think it's unfair. I think it does them a disservice. They're more than just a big physical team, and I think that's illustrated by the fact that they've finished top 6 across 3 successive seasons. I don't think you managed to do that purely on being physical and being difficult to beat. I think they are well organised. I think they're well set up, but I think they have players of some craft in there too. And I think I actually quite enjoy watching St Mirren. I know there's this perception that it's just fairly rudimentary football. I would disagree with it, and I actually think that St Mirren will prevail at Hampden.
Oh, we've got a brilliant differing opinion on this one. I'm looking at their team. Marcus Fraser is experienced. He's a no-nonsense. I like him. Richard King, and then Freckleton has been
Freckleton's
really
a doubt. Freckleton's a doubt.
Yeah,
he's injured on Wednesday, so there's a huge question mark over whether or not he's going to play.
But he's done well. And you've got a middle 5 that played, which was Declan John, sweet left foot. O'Hara, I like. Bacchus has just come back in as if he's never been away. And the star of the show for me is Phillips.
Yeah. He works his socks off, Phillips.
Yeah.
He never stops.
The only one, and obviously McMenamin, and then I think Mandron and Ndulu up front. I think the one that he would probably be raging that's not there is Gogic.
Gogic is free to play.
Yeah, is he free now?
Gogic is free to play. He's not. I think it's not competition.
2 league games.
It's a 2 league games.
It's
not so Gogic is free to play. Yeah. Gogic can play
because
I think he's massive. He's huge, just in terms of being in that back 3 and sweeping things up. He is a physical player. I think his physicality. He can play a bit. He's another one. I think you just know exactly what you're going to get in terms of rolling up his sleeves and just getting stuck in it and trying to set a particular kind of tone.
St Mirren play a lot of good football, but see
when
they go route 1, very difficult to deal with. They're really good at it when the goalkeeper launches it up. They launch it up. I know a lot of the teams, defensive-wise, can't handle it. So what they're doing is they're just trying to get a wee nick, and then the Phillips and all that are run about them, and they're creating.
They should have beat Hearts on Wednesday night.
Yeah, they were done in by that decision. But I was just about to say, I was looking at their bench to see who come on, and the 2 players that I like who occupy. You're talking about people like you're wondering if Johnny Kenny's the right man to play up front. You're talking about centre forwards have to occupy and worry central defenders and full-backs by making runs that they don't want to track. Is that fair?
Yeah, no defender wants to run towards their own goal.
Yeah, and Ayunga and Mandron have got, yes, a little bit of physicality, but they do make great
Power and
runs,
pace.
energy.
Yeah, power and pace. I think that'll be, Motherwell will have to handle that power and pace, particularly that Motherwell have got in the forward areas. And as I said, big pitch. Someone will get the ball, they'll stick the ball in the channel, they'll turn them, they'll make Motherwell defend.
Here's what Stephen Robinson had to say about some of the criticism.
The people that talk like that watch 2 games a season. We're a very good football team. As far as it were, I don't think there's any rules in football that you're allowed to play people over 6 foot. I've not been told that yet. Our players that are over 6 foot are really poor in the air, and I wouldn't call them physical. It actually makes me laugh when I hear that. They're very good footballers, very good technically. So listen, people are entitled to that. When you beat teams, when you cause teams problems as Little St Mirren, there has to be a reason. You can't just be a good team.
Yeah, I think he makes a great point, and he's been in here on countless occasions mentioning how difficult the job is for provincial clubs trying to get results. And the other thing about it, I mean, let's not be snobby about it, Ruffy. There are many ways to win a game, and it's not all about tiki-taka.
No, well, that's what I said there. They mix it up. They're quite happy to build up for the back, get the ball wide, throw quality balls in there. But if that's not working and they come up against a team who don't like defending against 2 big physical guys, a lot of them, if you see St Mirren, any opportunity that they get, they want it in the box, they want it to be a battle, they want it to be a fight, pick up the scraps. And that's what they're good at. And, I mean, Tam will know better than me. There's being a striker at Hampden and you're only the one guy up there. You're doing a pair of running back and forward. If you get 2 strikers up there, it's much easier to play with.
Yeah, it's easier to come off the bench as well and make an impact, Tam.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
60, 70 minutes at Hampden would have been far too long for me.
Hard going. Listen, give us your thoughts on it. Tam, what have you said?
I'm going to go for 2-1 to Motherwell.
2-1 Motherwell.
2-1 Motherwell.
2-1 St Mirren.
Okay.
Sorry, no, I was 2-1 St Mirren as well. Sorry.
You all right, Ali?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so warm in here. Every time I look at him, I get a fright.
Just out of curiosity, if you're warm, he is sweating like a madman. He's given 3 coats on, one of the thickest shirts I've ever seen, and a tie. You've gone St Mirren 2-1.
2-1 St Mirren.
And you?
2-1 St Mirren.
And I'm with you, Tam. I think 2-1 Motherwell. I think Motherwell have got that bit between their teeth. Good football, great to watch. I
think it'll be a cracking game, Peter.
A brilliant game. Yeah, really good.
I think
the only downside is the attendance.
Well, wait a minute, Ruffy. 8,500 supporters.
Well, I hope they've structured that the cameras just show the supporters rather than the empty spaces.
What do you want, a director just to make it
No,
look
you
good?
can put them into the faraway end and just.
Wait a minute.
Motherwell have only sold 8.
But there's what do you call it, sponsors. There's all these people that get freebies.
They don't come out till 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah, well, you would know because you've never been to a game actually to watch 90 minutes. Usually you've got a wee bit of salary.
Criticising both teams' supports then, Motherwell and St Mirren, think you should have took more. Is that what you're saying, Ruffy?
Well, you see teams like that get maybe 15, 20,000, but I think 8,000 is poor.
You think so?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you see when Falkirk and teams like that get there, they come from everywhere.
That's your headline, Peter.
That's the headline. Ruffy slams both clubs' sets of fans for not backing their team. Simple as that. And to be fair, Ruffy,
no more gigs in Motherwell and Paisley. I'll just sneak in the back door like the Joker. Boom.
By the way,
wait a minute. I've got one coming up. Motherwell have done their best here.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Ruffy, because I would have hated to have had a headline with him sitting there chatting about it. Anyway, give us your thoughts on it. We've given you the prediction on Motherwell against St Mirren and Celtic against Rangers. Who's going to be in the Hampden final for the Premier Sports Cup final? We want to know what you think about it all. And, of course, we've given you the latest odds on the Celtic manager. I wonder if there'll be any continued protests as any of the board walk in at Hampden for the Celtic Rangers, or will this be just one of those games where they're concentrating on such a huge affair between Glasgow's 2 big clubs? Okay, let's not forget also, as well as Saturday and Sunday, here are the fixtures with the Scottish Premiership involved as well. Falkirk against Kilmarnock, Hearts against Dundee, and Livingston against Hibernian. And with that in mind, Hearts have the chance to go 9 points clear, Ali.
Huge opportunity for them. I think once you can bank those points and open up that cushion, it certainly just continues a bit of momentum. There was a degree of fortitude that they get out of Paisley with a point on Wednesday night. I think
Did you
I
see
think they
good
would
play?
accept that. Pardon?
Did you see good play? Did you see why they're up there at the top?
I think you can see why they're up there at the top. I think there's been a lot of superlatives about the Hearts team that maybe over-exaggerate just where they are, but what you cannot fudge on any level is the momentum that they've enjoyed. They've banked the points, they're there, and it becomes a very difficult gap to draw in, to pull in. I'll be interested to see just how they respond to I'm not sure if they would see a draw at St Mirren entirely as an adverse result, but it'll be interesting to see just how they respond to it. I would expect that they go out and beat Dundee. I think they'll take all 3 points. And that, whatever way you look at it, that is a significant gap to have at the top of the table.
Yeah, 9 points is good going, Ruffy. And I'm just looking here, and this is the significant thing, you know, regardless of some of the back page headlines. You've got Dundee, then they've got Dundee United, so they've got 2 home games, and then they're away to Aberdeen, Motherwell and Kilmarnock. On the 7th of December, they've got Celtic at Celtic Park. So that's where suddenly you think, okay, if they are real title contenders, they've got to go there and come away with something, just to either maintain an advantage if they had one. And then, of course, they've got 2 home games against St Mirren, Rangers, and then out of the end of 2025, you've got the Edinburgh Derby at Easter Road, and then away to Falkirk. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because depending on what you come out of with Celtic, Rangers, and then Hibs, once you get to January, if they had minimum 6 points of an advantage still in January, which is a big ask, then the Hearts board will back him. It doesn't matter what you were everybody's talking about with Tony Bloom. They're well aware of the financial fair play. They've got money to give him.
I think we always speak about that Christmas period. There's so many games. I think there's now 11 or 12 games from now until the 2nd or 3rd of January. So, as I said, if Hearts can still be there, I think that the test for Hearts will be when they lose their first game. I think you've seen that with Aberdeen last season, Peter. I think when you go on a long run unbeaten and then you lose a game, I think you actually see teams maybe losing a couple because they lose that confidence where I think they're untouchable, unbeatable. So I think when Hearts lose their first game, how can they react to that? Can they go and win the next couple and just forget about it, or do they let it affect them? So I would expect them to beat Dundee at home at the weekend, and that game Sunday the 7th of December. As I said, if Hearts are still 8-9 points ahead of Celtic and they go there and get a draw, people will go, maybe we're taking Hearts serious now. I know people are taking Hearts serious, but you're right. I think if they go to Celtic Park and don't get beat, then you think they're genuine, could topple Celtic this season.
Yeah.
January will be key. If you're still in a very similar position in January after you've pretty much played everyone twice, you've got to start saying this is
You can't take anything away from Hearts of what they've done this year. They have been the team of the year, but they are vulnerable, and they showed that at St Mirren. They should have been beat 3-1.
Yeah.
You know, that is a big scoreline for a team.
I can't wait till Willie Collum comes out and discusses that one.
It's also the mark, though, of a good team to come away with something when you shouldn't be.
They could have won it at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. They thought they got it as well. I know that they're going to back a manager in January. It's just where they end up, of course. And the other aspect of it as well, if they were genuinely heading into 2026 with any sort of half-decent advantage, I don't think, bearing in mind what we've witnessed today, Tam, I don't think wearing a Hearts strip from top to bottom is any bigger ridiculous outfit than the one that you're wearing today. I think the Hearts.
Which one would you
I
prefer?
took the pressure off myself for this.
Absolutely. I think the Hearts full strip is actually not bad. I think they'll just go, there's Tam, where people are tuning in right now and going, who's the idiot next to the host? You know?
The worrying thing is he's had it on for 4 days. He's been walking about.
Which, to be honest with you, any school bride is nothing new for anybody. It only suggests
Some weirdos galore
there
out
needs
there.
to be more security at banks. Now, listen, there's a positive way to look at it, and Derek McInnes has it.
We're going into November now, unbeaten, top of the league, and if somebody had told me that at the start of the season we'd be 6 points clear of Celtic after 10 games, you'd have grabbed that. So I think it's important for a bit of perspective. Players are a bit disappointed, which is not a bad thing for them to be disappointed, but in the cold light of day we'll dust ourselves down, and if it'll seem a decent point, a more than decent point, if we can win our game at Saturday.
Yeah, that's his way of looking at it, and they're against Dundee, second bottom without a win in 5 trips away from Dens Park. The high of Celtic is now but a distant memory for them. Stephen Presley's he knows this is going to just be a long haul to finish 11th.
Yeah, I think if he's honest enough, like John McGlynn is at Falkirk, the games that they'll have a successful season will be against the teams that are going to be in that bottom 6. You know, if they can get anything out of any game, a point away from home, it's a bonus. I just can't see the Dundee team away from home particularly, being strong enough to withstand what Hearts are going to hit them with.
Yeah, do you agree with me about Stephen Presley? He's just got to try and finish.
I think he knows that this is a really crucial year for him. He's got to try and do something that they don't get relegated, to give him a wee bit of a chance to get his more players in. But they've shown at home that they can do it, but it's away from home I think they're vulnerable.
Okay, give us your prediction.
2-0 Hearts.
3-0 Hearts.
3-1 Hearts.
Okay, I'll go 2-0 the Jambos. Falkirk against Kilmarnock. Did you see anything from Falkirk that suggests that they still can take the positivity of recent results into a game against, by the way, Kilmarnock? Or somebody asked us on Monday if Stuart Kettlewell, in fact it wasn't Monday, it was yesterday. Cheryl, our reporter, was asking, is he under pressure, Stuart Kettlewell?
Not yet. I don't think he's under pressure just yet. He had a fairly decent start to the season. Falkirk won't be drawing any conclusions on Wednesday night's game. It's almost a free hit. I think no one anticipates that they go and take anything at Celtic Park. It's not the games that are going to define their campaign. These are the games that are playing at home, making the most of home advantage, and I suspect a draw. I'm going to go for a share of the points tomorrow. I think it'll be 1 each.
Yeah. Dundee, Kilmarnock, 2 wins in 10 since they took charge.
Yeah, at the start it looked pretty impressive. He was getting results here and there. I just think the endeavour that Falkirk have got is really good. I think the crowd get right behind them. It's a great atmosphere in the stadium. I think we saw last week, that the players have a will to keep winning, and I think that'll carry them through. I think they will just edge this one.
Tom?
I'm going to go for Falkirk to win. I think Falkirk are strong at home. I think they play a lot of good football, and they've still got that buzzer just coming up. So I think they'll forget, as Alison said, they'll just forget the other night and they'll get on with it on Saturday, and I think they've got enough to beat Kilmarnock 2-1. Yeah.
Every now and then we always say to you that we'd like your opinion. We obviously don't mind if you leather us from time to time, as long as you're not abusive or in any way straying into areas that we don't want to go down. But Sydney Devine, not the real Sydney Devine, but his moniker on YouTube has said, "Sorry, I made a typo. Brilliant from Tam. He looks completely gormless without a costume, but my goodness, he looks like a complete gormless fool and a buffoon of a man dressed like that." Wow. Honestly, can you not just enter into the spirit of it?
I've got a thick skin.
Well, I was going to say to you, and lots of thick makeup.
Why is he so serious?
Well, I was going to say to you, Tam, when you walked into our staff room today, the whole place just burst into fits of laughter and thought, good on you. It was absolutely...
Thought Halloween had made an effort, Pierre.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's absolutely fantastic. At one point I thought, no, I'm not going to say it. I'm not even going to go for it because it'll bring me all sorts of hassle. But nevertheless, good on you. Come on, have a bit of spirit on this. It's Halloween. I have to say, witnessed some absolutely magnificent costumes of people walking about. It's been really good, Ruffy. It's the type of thing you and Maggie do. You do like dressing up.
Yeah, I think when you've got kids.
In Maggie's glaze. Outings.
Threw away the key or whatever.
Two good legs and a pair of heels like Ruffy.
Yeah, absolutely. Still, enough about role play. Let's concentrate on Livingston against Hibs. Livy, no wins in 9. Oof. And Hibbies, 2 wins in 9. David Gray, as ever, highs of winning, lows of losing. David Gray, the Hibs boss, is trying to just keep everything on an even keel.
1,000,000%. We've been a very positive story on how quickly things can change in a positive way last season. I've said that many times. But then you also need to be, this is what the good thing about the group, and I say this to them, is making sure that you don't get too high after the back of a result, and you stay humble and you keep working hard and you appreciate why we're getting results, and when we have had results, why that happens, because it changes very quickly going the other way as well. So look how tight it is, as I've just said there. I'm not sure exactly the points, but there can't be many between top and bottom. Well, not top, but 6 or 7 places. How quickly it can change with one result. Never mind 2 or 3 if you can put them together.
Yeah, this is a table, Tam. And you look and you see Hibs, and you think to yourself, 4th, Hibs fans, obviously it's painful seeing Hearts top, but 4th at this point, I think they'll be like, yeah, we take that.
Yeah, I think considering where they were last season, Peter, they were bottom of the league at this point probably. I think it's an amazing turnaround for both Edinburgh clubs actually, both was in the bottom 2. So I think the fact that Hearts are flying, sticks in the craw a little bit for the Hibs supporters, but I think the fact that Hibs have not really turned up twice now against Rangers, once in the League Cup away from home where a lot of people were tipping Rangers to go and turn Russell Martin's team over, they didn't turn up, and then the other night I didn't think they turned up in the final third.
Is Bowie doing enough for you?
Nah, I think he looks off the boil at the minute, Peter, and there's plenty of options for David Gray, Ellie Youhan, Martin Boyle. The only thing I would say is Livingston, we know it's a tough game to go away from home, and Bowie might be needed for set pieces and his physical presence, so he might keep him in the team, but yeah, he looks as if he's getting frustrated now, Peter, in terms of the service, and I don't think he's scored in 7 games, so he needs a goal, like most strikers do. If you go through 6, 7, 8 games without a goal, you start to get frustrated, and the important thing for him is just keep getting into positions to score goals and something will drop for you. But as poor as Hibs were the other night, I think they'll go and take care of Livingston. I think they've beat Livingston twice this season, and I think they'll go and make it 3 now, tomorrow, comfortably.
Yeah, what about David Martindale and his mindset, Ruffy? Because if Stephen Robinson's miffed at some of the suggestions of the way they're playing, Livingston, he's tried to put the side together playing a bit of football, and I think that's to his credit, but it's certainly not working out at the moment.
No, it isn't, and I think again at the early part of the season we thought they were going to be particularly hard to beat, but they're not. They are getting beaten regular now, they're down where they don't want to be. But they've been down there before, they know how to deal with it, and it's up to David to come up with the idea. I think they thought because it was the beginning of the season, the new owners and place, everything was going to be on the up, but it's not proved that way. But he knows, like Dundee and the rest of them, that he just needs to be out of that bottom 2.
Yeah, what's your prediction?
Hibs have got to start winning games for me. It's okay them talking up and they've got good players and they're playing good football, but I think the Hibs supporters demand that they start winning.
Give us your prediction.
Hibs 2-1.
Ali?
Hibs 2-0.
Okay, I think they're going to just edge at Hibs 2-1.
2-0 for Hibs for me.
Yeah, okay. Listen, an absolute joy on the programme today to talk about the football, because certainly over the last week, I don't think even in the mad days that Scottish football just keeps on giving, we would have witnessed such a dramatic change, Ruffy. We're getting ready at the weekend for a Celtic Rangers game, which is always eagerly anticipated, but suddenly you're looking at 2 dugouts where both dugouts have a change in management, and we've highlighted Back to the Future with Martin O'Neill, and Rangers fans hoping for a bright future with Danny Rule. It's incredible the week that's gone on somewhere out there on this planet. I wonder if Brendan Rodgers will even hit the button on his television to watch the game.
It's a difficult one. Obviously we'll still be trying to go over what's actually happened. It's always been a lot. It means a lot to him, these kind of games, and it means a lot to everybody winning these kind of games, because you don't want to in the Monday be on the end of the defeat. So I think both. Martin will know what to expect if they don't win it, but the Rangers manager, if he wins it, he'll be nearly a hero.
Yeah.
For one game.
Everybody's had an opinion on it, Ali. Even Callum McGregor, the captain, has said, he changed the landscape. He's paid tribute to Brendan Rodgers because, if anything, this week has been scathing from the majority shareholder, Dermot Desmond, and he's paid tribute obviously to another man that maybe people will look and say, okay, he's had a long period there, John Kennedy out the door and looking possibly for his first managerial role.
It's a sad end for John Kennedy and a very long association. I think a lot said this week about the manner of that exit. I think it felt a bit tawdry that Celtic didn't release anything or when they did release something, it was some time after news broke that he'd already left the club. It was almost as if he was just sort of sneaking out the back door, which I think is unfair given the length of service that he'd given the club. In terms of Brendan Rodgers, time will frame his 2 spells at Celtic as very successful spells. When you look at the trophy haul, what was delivered across both spells, but I don't think there's any doubt that it leaves, just the manner of the exit in the last couple of months probably leaves a sour element to it.
Yeah, I think on that period of Brendan Rodgers winning games, the highlight I think that he'll always be able to take away is the way his team played against Bayern Munich. Sadly, I think, you know, his reputation as far as and his place in Celtic's history will be tarnished a little by this whole episode, and I think Celtic fans will always look upon Brendan Rodgers but in their assessment of his period in charge, which whether history as it goes past month after month, year after year, they start to look on him more favourably, only time will tell. It's, as ever, Scottish football, giving you the best and the worst of times. But at the weekend, we're looking forward to the Premier Sports Cup semi-finals. 2 cracking matches. We'll have the build-up to it. We'll have post-match reaction from managers and players. And I do hope that you will join us on Monday. I can tell you that if you hit the subscribe button on PLZ Premium, you'll get early access to a one-to-one. I caught up with one of the most respected Scottish journalists, Roddy Forsyth, to talk about his career in journalism and, of course, the sad situation that he's dealing with Parkinson's disease. Roddy is, for an hour, just taking us down a journey of legendary managers, players and games, people he's met up with. And, of course, he's an inspiration on dealing with this disease. It is well worthy of you subscribing to PLZ Soccer's Premium. And just before we go, enjoy your football. Scottish Premiership games, get behind them. Motherwell and St Mirren fans don't care a jot for what Ruffy has said about you. 8,500 each of you going to sing your hearts out. If you're going to the semi-finals, enjoy them. It's just a game of football. Go there, enjoy it and get home safely. Thanks to Alison, thanks to Ruffy, thanks to the Joker, because it is Halloween. he's looking absolutely magnificent. I'm just looking to see if he's going to adopt the same thing that Heath Ledger did and just set off an incendiary device and we all are blown to kingdom. But I leave you with a thought. If you want to subscribe to PLZ Premium, here's what you can win. Enjoy your football.
Get ready for the trip of a lifetime to the Champions League final in Budapest. This is your chance to experience the ultimate footballing event of 2026. Sign up to PLZ Premium for the season and you're in the draw to win the VIP package to the final. Flights, accommodation and tickets all included for you and one friend. Unlock exclusive content and prize giveaways on PLZ Premium. Do not miss out on this incredible opportunity. Secure your spot for the 2026 Champions League final by clicking the link in our bio.